Hello, and welcome back to the Everyday Tarot Podcast, your deep dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, your hallowed high priestess, tarot reader, and professional witch. And today I'm talking about a month ahead tarot spread for August 2026. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every Monday to check out the latest episode. If you want to carry the magic with you, the Everyday Tarot merch collection is available. So if you've ever found comfort in an episode, discovered a new perspective through a card pull, or felt seen by this community, this is a way to take a little of the magic with you wherever you go. Every purchase helps support the podcast and allows me to continue creating free tarot content, sharing card wisdom, and building a space where tarot is accessible, intuitive, and truly for everyone. Thanks so much for listening, sharing episodes, leaving reviews, and supporting this work in all the ways that you do. It means more than you can even know. Carry the magic of Everyday Tarot with you and support the podcast while you do. The links to check out the merch will be in the show notes. So other ways to support the podcast are you can join the Everyday Tarot family on Patreon. You'll get exclusive tarot content like access to any live tarot readings I do, get to meet other listeners in our members only chat, get access to bonus resources like my tarot card crafting workshop and tarot spreads I'm sharing, and a chance to help shape the future of the podcast. And I think for the last 6 episodes, I've also been doing Patreon exclusive card pulls after every episode. They're usually about 10 minutes long, where I go ahead and after each episode's complete, I record another short episode, a mini episode, pulling a card, clarifying cards specifically for blockages and how to overcome them. So if you're interested in that and just want more tarot, you can check out the Everyday Tarot Patreon family link in the show notes. I just had this idea last night. I want to do like a office tour. So that will be over on the Patreon as well for any paid Patreon members. You could just see my background in the office. But I also have lots of bookshelves and a cozy reading corner and an altar behind me that maybe you don't get to see super often. So I'll be doing a MTV Cribs My Office tour exclusively over on the Patreon going up very soon. So you can look forward to that. You can always listen, leave a review, and subscribe or follow in your favorite podcast app or over on YouTube. That's just how other listeners can find me if they're new to the podcast. And they can check out, what to expect. You can join my newsletter list where when you sign up, you get my Hallowed Tarot Spread Workbook, the most up-to-date info on my upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life over there. You can always fill out a guest inquiry form if you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast. I do put out guest episodes about once a month, so I'm always looking for more folks with that. And you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or over on Patreon for free, in addition to the images of the cards that I pull. And I guess the other thing is I am doing tarot readings now, paid tarot readings. So I'll have the link for that as well while I do my Hallowed Tarot spread that I created. That's a 5-card spread. We'll meet for 30 minutes. Once you schedule that, you'll get a recording of our whole session. I'll write out a description of the cards and what we talked about. You'll get images of the cards and all of that sent to you right after we chat if you're looking for any clarifying information or just want to kind of try working with me one-on-one. Today, I'm discussing a month ahead tarot spread for August 2026. You're getting this right at the beginning of August, so you can check out the episode. You can go ahead and do the spread for yourself if you would like. So I'm going to go ahead and share the one that I'm going to do. So this one will be a little different than other ones I've done. So this is from forum.spells8.com. It's a calendar tarot spread for August 2026. So this is something they have available on their website. where you can check it out as well. But yeah, so we'll be pulling a card for the month, going through like each week. So if you look at the calendar here, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Obviously, it's not 6 full weeks. So we'll kind of get a card for day 1, which of course will have already happened by the time that you listen to this. And then you'll have a card for each of the weeks going forward. So yeah, we will actually have 5 Mondays in August and actually 6 kind of like partial weeks, which is not usual. And I know like I'm be putting out 5 episodes this month. So I'll have like an extra one as well, in addition to the kind of normal topics that I usually have. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up what my extra one will be for this month. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to do a tarot book review. I have the Upside Down Tarot book. I'm going to talk about that. So I've used it in some of my episodes to talk about reversals, but I want to do kind of like a book review on the book itself and their kind of approach to reversal tarot cards. And then I always do a month ahead spread, a guest, and the sort of zodiac season. So I'll have tarot for Virgo season as well. And then I'll have one more slot available. And I think I have a topic for that, but you'll have to stay tuned to find out. So go ahead, grab your tarot deck. I'm going to be grabbing mine, and we will be doing this spread together. So again, we'll be pulling one card for the card of the month, and then we'll kind of have these 6 weeks to, get into. And this is, I do kind of a different month ahead spread every month. Of course, you could do the same month ahead spread every month. Obviously, for this one, some months are not going to have 6 partial weeks, so you would do one less card. It does have the like Lammas or Lugnasa kind of pagan holiday on there as well, so you could always like add that in if there was a holiday or a full moon. And the spread is kind of your additional card. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all these cards. I'll put my card at the top, then we'll have 3 across and 3 at the bottom, and then we'll kind of get into it. So this doesn't really have any prompts, right? It's really just like kind of a what to expect for the week ahead, and then we'll have for the month and then for the holiday as well. So I got my card for the month, and then I'm doing 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, they're all reversed. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, are they all going to be reversed? Not quite. So, all right. So for my card of the month, I pulled the King of Swords. I feel like I've been pulling that one a lot lately. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing this with you. So I'll read the prompts as we go along, and I'm going to show instead my Snag Tarot. Yeah, I'm already on this card, which is funny, in my PDF that I have. So this is the Snag Tarot deck, and they have a digital book for each card, or like a digital guidebook. So yes, I did pull the King of Swords recently because it's right here on it. So this is our card for the month for August. So the traditional meaning of this card, as it states here, authority, logic, structure, intellectual power. Swords are the air element, kind of about thinking, communication, sometimes anxiety, or kind of, again, it can be like the good kind of thinking or sometimes the challenging part of thinking. With the king, they say the King of Swords represents clear thinking and strong judgment, right? This sort of character here looks like they're contemplating something. It says decisions are made based on reason, fairness, and a broader view of the situation. This card can point to leadership that values truth and accountability. It also asks you to consider how you are using your voice and perspective. Clarity is a tool, and how you apply it matters. So when I think, okay, I pull this card as my first card, and again for the spread, this is like the month ahead card itself. Card for the month, overarching themes and goals. I feel like this card is saying like we're taking the overarching view, the broad view of the month. Like we're going to be thinking about kind of the next 6 months. I know that sounds wild, And we did it a bit last month as well. But I know for me, at this point in the year, it's like, okay, we have all of August, all of September, all of October, all of November, all of December, 5 months. And then we kind of go into January. And I definitely sort of abide more by the kind of like pagan holiday view of the calendar, where we sort of start the year over again in like March-ish. And so yeah, to me, okay, like the 6 months ahead are like the end of 2026 and the beginning of 2027. And actually, as I was doing a like ceremony ritual, I was like listening to one this morning for the full moon in Aquarius that just happened on the 27th, 28th of July. I kind of got this download about something I know I want to implement and kind of launch over the next like couple of months. And so, yeah, for me, it's sort of thinking about like, okay, we're taking a broad view. I'm thinking about like the longer term goals. I'm thinking about what perspective I have, trying to right? Like here, clear thinking, strong judgment. So we're basing our decisions again on like data and reason and like this broader view of the situation instead of maybe trying to nail everything down right now. And again, I know for me, when I think kind of the like month ahead, I'm like, okay, I know some things that are going on. I still have some like vacation stuff planned. There's some work stuff I'm going to be working on. And then, like I said, I kind of have this thing that I want to launch coming later this year and into next year probably. And so that's kind of what's top of mind for me right now is like, okay, let's like look at the calendar and put everything on paper, like get those dates nailed down or kind of like start thinking about that. Maybe don't nail it down yet, but as we kind of go throughout the month of August, that's definitely what I'm going to be thinking about. And I know like we're in Leo season right now. We're going to switch into Virgo. Wait, no, we have Libra, then Virgo. Virgo season I always think of as like back to school season, which is like I like always like to do a lot more like learning at that time of year. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting, I'm going to start thinking about it. All right. So let's go on to our next card. So this will be for week 1, starting August 1st on Lammas or Lugnasa, which is on Saturday, August 1st this year. And that is the holiday of kind of like the first harvest holiday. I know around me at this time of year, like wheat or hay has already been harvested. And sometimes folks will do it again before the end of the season. As a gardener, like I've had peas and like a couple cherry tomatoes come in, but more of the like the pumpkins are starting, tomatoes are really going to start going for me and stuff like that. Like we're getting more into harvest time of year. So for this one, I pulled the 6 of Wands reversed. So let's see here, Pentacles. Okay. Wands. And I'm just looking kind of generally. I have some cups. So this is a wands. I have some cups. I have pentacles, and I have swords as well. So we got a mix of everything. 6 of Wands. Oh yeah. Okay. Not swords, wands. Okay. So upright, this is about success. Again, 6s are kind of like you've gotten over the hump of the 5. You're moving towards kind of like, again, recognition. Yeah, success. When we think of wands, it's a lot about that. It's the fire signs. You can kind of see these like fiery looking elements at the bottom that are a bit more about creativity or passion about things. So upright, this can be about, yeah, recognition, public achievement. And again, this can be right? This will have just happened for you if you're listening to this episode as it comes out. And they say their take is the 6 of Wands represents recognition and achievement. Effort has been seen. There's a sense of moving forward with confidence. This card invites you to accept that success without downplaying it. It can also raise questions about visibility, who gets recognized and who is overlooked. Both can exist at the same time. So with reversal cards, you can kind of decide how you think you want to interpret it. Sometimes I like to look at the card upside down. When I look at this card upside down, this wreath here that's sort of, I think of like a laurel, like that they used to give like at the old time Olympics. They would give like a crown of laurels, I think, which is like a plant, and they would put it on your head, and that would be kind of your like medal or crown or thing like that in like the first Olympics in Greece. And so that's like part of what I think about. But when I look at it upside down, I'm like, it looks a lot more snake-like to me. Like even with the kind of tendrils of the bow here, which again, upright looks like a pretty traditional kind of like Christmas wreath to me. But upside down, it's like giving snaky a little bit more. And so I think of like the world card, some level of like something, yeah, some cycle is coming. Like we have just a lot of circular things in this card. We have like these swirls down here. We have the necklace. We have these flowers that are pretty like circular. The beads like around her waist. A lot of that like cyclical energy. So I feel like upside down or reversed, there's something about like, yeah, cycles continuing again. When I think about, again, so this is for kind of like your first, like what's happening with the harvest or what's happening for Lamas or Lugnasa, or just for the first day of August that you just experienced. It is this kind of, again, I kind of go back to that, like I was thinking about the next 6 months where it's like, let's take inventory, let's see what's coming next. Where do I want to put my energy? And yeah, just kind of like, I think of snakes, I guess. And like we have the Ouroboros, which is like the snake eating its own tail symbol, which again is a sort of like the cycle continues, wheel of the year, a bit more like imagery. But also I just think of like snakes are often about like rebirth, again like the symbol of a snake in the same way. So I guess that's a little bit more of what I'm thinking of. Reverse, I'm saying thinking like, okay, is something like, what do you want to be recognized for? Is there something that like you feel like you haven't been achieving, or you're kind of looking back on the last 6 months and feeling like, oh, I thought I'd be further ahead than this? Like, am I having too much or too little, like again, recognition or success? Like, what actually matters to me, right? It says here, like, raise questions about visibility, who gets recognized and who is overlooked. Both can exist at the same time. So, like, what are you being recognized for? What are you not? And like, how does that make you feel? And is there something that you want to put forward more or not? It sounds like that's kind of coming up for us on this first day of August. All right, so back to the spread for week 2, which is August 2nd through the 8th, which is kind of like the first full, like true week, full week of August. And again, you're listening to this perhaps on the 3rd as this comes out. And so, yeah, let's look at our card for that one. So for this card, I pulled the Page of Cups in reverse. We're going to scroll up to the cups. The pages are at the top. Here's the Page of Cups. So we have this kind of like purpley color. Upright. Right, cups are about our emotions. They are the water sign of the tarot. Emotional curiosity, sensitivity, creativity, and new emotional experiences. So again, they're kind of like, I feel like they're like clinking two glasses together and like doing like cheers. And just kind of the plant imagery and the colors is this like, I don't know, it like gives me this like sensuality, I guess, which is not necessarily what they say, but they say their take on the upright is Page of Cups brings a sense of openness, curiosity, can point to new feelings, creative ideas, or willingness to approach situations with softness. So there's like a bit of that. The card encourages you to stay receptive, even if that makes you feel vulnerable. Pages are also kind of like the interns of the tarot. And so there is this kind of like newness, like, oh, I'm just kind of learning, like, right? And that can be a really like vulnerable state to be in. It's often exciting, but also you have to be really open and like taking in a lot of information at once. Not everything needs to be guarded or fully understood to be meaningful, they state here. So again, when I'm thinking about this kind of first full week of August, I'm thinking about, yeah, like what emotions are coming up. You know, is there something where you're feeling a bit like rigid or like, this makes me uncomfortable? right? If so, with the reversal, this card's kind of saying like, try to be open to it. We're going to be vulnerable. We're going to allow for that. We're going to have some new emotional experiences, and we're going to try to embrace that, even though it makes us feel vulnerable. And sometimes that is challenging. Or I like this here too. Not everything needs to be guarded or fully understood to be meaningful. I think oftentimes for those of us that can land in the more intellectual realm or like to intellectualize our emotions or think a lot about them and talk a lot about them, sometimes we just have to feel them. Oops, sorry. Instead, like, so we can talk all about it that we want. You can process things, and you can do it in therapy. You can kind of try to see where that came from and why the emotions came up. But sometimes we just have to like actually do it and feel it. And I feel like that's a bit of what's coming out with this card. It's like, all right, we're doing it and we're feeling it. And that's where we're at this week, or at least that's what the card is encouraging. All right. So for week 3, which is August 9th through the 15th, we are looking at the card of the King of Cups in reverse. So another Cups sign here. So I would say we continue to perhaps struggle in the emotional realm. So the King of Cups here, right? We had the King of Swords earlier, and then we had the Page of Cups. So now we're back to King, but in the Cup suit. So traditionally upright, this would be like balance. Again, when we think of like, you see the cup here, it's overflowing, right? With abundance. We have the fish sign here. So there's sort of this allusion to the ocean or like Pisces energy, maturity, control over feelings, and calm leadership. Again, if the king is kind of like the master leader of the cup suit in this realm, that means like, again, master over your feelings, calm leadership. The King of Cups reflects emotional steadiness. Feelings are present, right? Their cup's overflowing. There's like waves, and they're just like, it's fine. We're good. This card can point to handling situations with calm or offering support in a way that feels grounded and reliable. It also asks you to consider how you relate to your own emotions. Are you allowing yourself to feel or just managing the surface? So again, we kind of get this desire to try to manage our feelings or have people try to manage people or situations, perhaps. And when we think about this reverse, again, when you flip the image on its head, it looks like the water is actually going like upward and the fish is going down, right? And this one, it's like the flowing, it's overflowing. But when it's in reverse, we see this person that looks kind of like calm and collected. The waves at the bottom kind of don't like appear as important. And then we just see this kind of like strange reversal of physics with water where the fish is like falling out, right? This feeling of, again, like, okay, the bottom is falling out, or kind of like, oh, I'm feeling all the things. And then the water is going up, which is, again, not its natural state. It could be, right, kind of like rainy, right, where water falls from the sky. Obviously, it's not going up, but the water cycle does eventually. But yeah, so there's this level of like, so too much or too little, right? We're trying to find that emotional balance, the maturity, the control over feelings, calm leadership, as I said earlier. And so, yeah, maybe we're getting more familiar with our upcoming Libra state of feeling like we're trying to find balance or trying to find, reliability. And that could just be in ourselves too. It could be about, okay, like I'm feeling like emotionally all over the place. I'm trying to have some maturity, some emotional balance, a little bit of control over feelings, which again doesn't mean that you don't feel them. But sometimes it's saying, okay, like right now is not the full appropriate time for me to feel that feeling. I'm going to work on that later. And then you have to do it, right? You can't just put it off. And then, like I said, are you allowing yourself to feel or just managing the surface? Again, this person's like very serene looking. They're like, oh, it's totally fine. But if we're in the reverse, right, it's like, oh, is that true? Is that like a front you're putting on? Or are you actually like allowing yourself to feel? Or are you pretending everything is fine, but actually you're freaking out underneath? So I would say for this week, the card's encouraging us to like, actually allow yourself to feel things, like it's okay. And you can handle it. Okay, for week 4, we're talking about August 16th through the 22nd, and that is the Ten of Pentacles reversed. So I will scroll to find that. Oh, we were quite close, actually. We're right next to it in this deck. So, right, upright, tens, about completion of cycles, right? This is a very like cheery image. Pentacles are the earth or grounded sign in the tarot. So, right, that can be like coins, so finances, wealth, legacy, here, long-term security, and family or community stability. The Ten of Pentacles upright speaks to long-term stability and legacy. It can point to generational wealth, chosen family, or community support systems that create lasting security. This card also invites reflection on what you are building, not just for yourself, but for others. What does a sustainable, supportive future look like, and who is included in it? Right? So again, with this being in the reverse, right, there's something that's feeling challenging here, too much or too little. If we look at this image upside down, it looks fairly similar. Like we don't have anything in particular. I mean, obviously the people are standing on the ceiling if it's upside down, but there is something about the pentacles themselves where when I look at it upright, it is this like archway, this like U shape, even though really that's just the Roman numeral for 10 at the top, but that's what draws my eye. But upside down, it looks different. Again, like it's the U, it's like holding the person and the dog and the flowers within it. So I would say something, yeah, is feeling like you're working on this like lasting stability and security. And that might mean that you're trying to figure out what you actually want. Again, like what are you building for not just for yourself, but for others, right? It's one thing to like strive for stability and like for you, but also very often people do that for their children or for the future children of the world or for the ecosystem or for all different kinds of things. So there is this level of like, okay, how are you going to feel supported? And also, how are you going to support others? Or who do you want to include, right? This says, what does a sustainable, supportive future look like and who's included in it? So it's like, who's in your little, like, who do you want to be in this picture, basically? And again, with this being reversed, I would just say, like, there's something that's like, has some tension around this. This could be that you're seeing some people in your life that you're like, yeah, no, I don't think they're included. Or maybe you feel like you have stability for yourself and that feels great, but then you're kind of like, okay, how do I welcome others into this space? Or how do I think about, again, legacy for more people than just for myself in this world? Right here, we have this lovely person with their dog, right? This is part of their legacy here. So again, that was for week 4, August 16th through the 22nd. So for week 5, which is kind of the last full week of August, we have August 23rd through 29th here. And for that card, I pulled the Queen of Swords upright this time. We finally get an upright card again. So there's something at the end of the month, right, that's coming a bit more like into clarity. Right, we can see here she kind of looks like she's looking into the future or a seer. Swords are, again, that like air sign, the intellectual, the thinking mind. So she's really like doing some, perceptiveness, clarity, honesty. The queen there being also like independence. It says the Queen of Swords sees things clearly and speaks with honesty. She values truth even when it's uncomfortable, right? Again, the swords can be sometimes about that like cutting through the things that are not relevant or important, or like through the easiest way always for me, it's like it cuts through the bullshit. I don't have a way to say that without swearing. I feel like that evokes the same strength to it, but it says this card can point to setting boundaries, right? Another thing that swords are good at when we think about it, right? Like they can cut things, they can clear things back, they can keep people away, making clear decisions or communicating directly, right? Other things about swords as like the air sign. That is how we communicate, right? Verbalizing often or with our thoughts and put those into words in some way, making clear decisions. Again, the clarity that comes with like a cut of the sword. It says it also asks you to balance clarity with care. Honesty does not need to be harsh to be effective. So again, something's coming into more clarity, right? With some of the reversals earlier in the month, I would say like some big feelings come up, right? We're passionate about something, but things are just feeling a little more challenging. As we get into that last week, things are, it seems like, becoming a bit more clear. Again, we can see where we're going. Maybe again, some things are honestly coming into clarity, whether that's uncomfortable or not. And yeah, like the lines are being drawn is like kind of the other thing I would say, which again, if we look here, we have the sword in her hand. We have the sword here at the top for the suit. We have the sword, like a dagger actually on her leg. And then we have these like nice tattoos on this person that are also like very fine lines tattoos there. And so I just think about, again, like where are we drawing the line? Again, which can be also that about boundaries. So again, something is becoming clear to us, for us. We're seeing some potential futures and just feeling like things are becoming a bit more clear. And then lastly, for week 6, which just encompasses August 30th through the 31st, so those last 2 days, last Sunday, Monday of the last part of the month. And for that card, I pulled the 7 of Swords. So again, we're still, things are clear, but with the 7, something is a little, it's like a little less mature or something. So here, right, we see this person, there's a lot of swords, they're in the ground, right? Whereas for the queen, they were kind of, it's like she was using the sword as like a more like a wand or like a grounding mechanism, or even like a dowsing rod, which is like how folks used to sometimes try to find water. Like, this isn't necessarily the position I would be in if I was going to use a sword like as a weapon, right? She's got her eyes closed. She's like clearly looking. Whereas for the 7 of Swords, again, she's not necessarily like gonna whip a sword out and like get someone, but like she's prepared, right? Like there's a lot of potential to use a weapon, but also she's looking, it's like she's tiptoeing. So the 7 of Swords often traditionally is about some deception or secrecy or strategy or acting alone, right? She kind of looks like she's like sneaking in at midnight or twilight. It says the 7 of Swords raises questions about honesty and intention. And again, this card, I pulled it as upright. So it says this could point to deception, but it could also reflect self-protection or the need to move carefully, right? So again, maybe the prior week we get that clarity, and then right in those last couple of days of August, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do I kind of like maneuver myself, right? How do I perhaps tiptoe around the things that I don't really want to draw attention to? How do I move carefully, right? Are you, and it says here, are you avoiding accountability, or are you protecting yourself in a situation that does not feel safe, right? Like, why are you kind of trying to do things in the dark of night? In the card, it says the difference matters, right? And so also thinking about like our accountability to the situation. Are we, feeling a bit insecure about something, or are we hiding the truth from someone or something, or to reveal it at the right moment? And if so, like, is that with honest intention, or do you feel like you're trying to avoid accountability in some way? And again, the sword sign just being about the kind of like mental plane, thinking, spiraling thoughts, anxiety, right? There could be this level of like, maybe you're getting really caught up in your head, right? Like acting alone, secrecy, strategy, deception, right? There is this like loneliness to this card, right? Sometimes when we feel vulnerable, or perhaps we're trying to avoid accountability or protect ourselves, it can feel very isolating, like no one else understands, or like it just feels easier to not include anyone else. And this card's kind of asking us like, are you sure that's true? Or like, if it is true, again, or is that because you're trying to like avoid people making you take accountability, or are you protecting yourself from some level of safety at the time? So, right, it can kind of go either way and it can look the same on the outside. So this card's kind of saying like, okay, like just make sure you are thinking about that and that you're not falling into deception and secrecy and like maybe, yeah, questions about honesty and intention with without being intentional about it, I would say. All right. Well, that is officially our spread for the month. So I would say we kind of start out with, yeah, the overarching, the King of Swords. We move into kind of some reversal cards of a bit of emotional turmoil or just kind of some passion being ignited or something with that. We move into the Ten of Pentacles reverse in week 4, where we're kind of thinking about our community and resources and ourselves. We get some clarity in week 5, and then in week 6, there's something that kind of, we're thinking a lot about honesty or deception or secrecy in that part of the month. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and pull one more card just to see if there's any kind of like clarity we need or anything that maybe isn't related to this month but is more of a general card. And I'm just trying to decide what deck I want to pull that from. I kind of want to pull from the Samhain deck, so I'm gonna go grab. This is the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle, illustrated by Giada Rose and created by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. My cards just like flew out. Okay. I give it a quick shuffle here. So yeah, we're just thinking about, is there anything else we need to know about the month ahead? Is there anything that's more relevant to just right now in this moment in time? Let's see here. Interesting. I pulled Seduction in reverse. So upright, this is about, it says, hear the roaring flames with a masterful trance that calls upon heaving chest. Give in to its alluring grip, if you please, but heed my warning of the claws that draw blood without mercy. Again, we kind of have like a secrecy message there too. We're like thinking about our intention. So the keywords for this card are passion and manipulation. So yes, it says in reverse, it is you who is seducing. Seduction and manipulation can come in many forms. It can be seeking friendships solely for your own benefit instead of for real connections. Take time to examine how you may be selfishly using others for your own gain. Remember, karma is always waiting to pay you back in kind. No injustice goes unanswered. Little acts of manipulation today can lead to many storms tomorrow. So, this card is a bit of a warning of saying, okay, again, that like secrecy that's going on at the end of the month, there's something there where we're feeling the need to manipulate or control in a situation where there's some level of like dishonesty that's going on. So, I guess be on the lookout or check in with yourself at the end of the month and see like where you may be kind of falling into old patterns or doing something that perhaps you don't want to do anymore. I'm going to stop sharing here so that I can. So yeah, I use the Snag Tarot deck by Bree and art by Sophie from snag.com. I have the link for that in the show notes. You can check out the Everyday Tarot merch. You can get a reading with me, get that booked. And then, yeah, the other deck I pulled from was the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle, which I also greatly enjoy. I haven't used it as much recently, but it's a good one. I'll probably use it a bit more in the fall. So its time is coming. All right. And so that is our collective reading for the week and the month ahead. But I am heading over to Patreon right now to draw a clarifying card specifically for blockages and how to overcome them this week. So if you want to see that exact card and what it means for your energy, click the Patreon link below and join us for the rest of the reading. If you join the Patreon now, you'll get access to all the prior ones that I've done, so you can always go back and listen to the other Patreon exclusive card pulls. Yeah, so what to expect in 2026, weekly episodes going out on Mondays, guest episodes about once a month. Every episode is recorded on video. Those go out on Spotify and YouTube and soon on Apple Podcasts. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest, please fill out my form to be a guest on the podcast. Links for the decks will always be in the show notes and on Patreon if you want to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Tune in every Monday to check out the latest episode. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.